Okay guys, welcome back. This is our third part and hopefully the last part of basic German. In this video we will mostly talk about verbs, how to conjugate them, and we'll move to talk about simple past and simple present. Then we will move on with modals and separable verbs. So let's begin. So far we've talked about nouns, genders, articles, and how to decline them, and we have talked about some prepositions. After that we talked about pronouns. So this is where we're at now, and now we want to start with verbs and its declination. Now let's talk about verbs for now. Verbs are the most important part of any language. Take this example: I, something, John, and then some other stuff happened. We don't care. Well, if I talk to you, say you this sentence, the thing that you will be looking for, what happened? It seems that my sentence isn't complete. That's because I don't have a verb here fixed. And that is the problem with it. And what it shows us is that the verb is the most important part of any language and any sentence. Now, moving on. First thing that you want to learn from about German verbs is the declination. Take this verb, for example, sagen, which means to say. And right now we have learned something, that verbs ending in en or n are infinitive, the form that you'll find them in a dictionary. Now let's decline them. I'll write this once. Ich, du. For the third person, I'm going to choose just er, wir, ihr, and sie. Let me get this one. Okay, let's just conjugate them first, then talk about the signs and how to do it. Ich sage, du sagst, er sagt. Next one, wir sagen, ihr sagt, sie sagen. Now let's take a closer look. Now we see that this part, SAG, the zag one, appears everywhere. What does that mean? That tells us that this is the root, and root carries the meaning of the verb, and the rest of the stuff that we see along with it. Let me just show you something real quick. So this is the root. These are the stuff that come after it. These are the stuff that come before it. These show which person it is, what's the tense, what's the mood. So the important thing is the mood for now. The root, I'm sorry. So most important thing is the root. Now we have found the root, and here change to blue, maybe, no, red. And here, one of the examples that I draw here, like this one here, shows us in this case that this refers to the first person, singular. This means, this shows that this belongs to ich. So ich sage, st, sagst, is for du, and sagt, the solo t, refers to the third person singular. Moving on, we see that these two are kind of like the verb in infinitive form for wir and sie. We should notice that. And the next one is ihr. We remember that we said that ihr is kind of like du in the plural form, but the sign for it looks like er. And what's that? It's kind of like, you see all the plural have the en ending, or the N ending, let's call it. Here, because they're like, I don't know if you guys recall it, but we have discussed it. It means that you're talking to kids and people younger than you, or someone that is below you, and it's kind of like that, okay? It's informal, basically. So instead of being like speaking to them to a high level, we just downgrade it to the third person. See, that's because it is plural, yes, but it has the third person, not even the second person. Moving on. Other than this, first I'm gonna give you a list of most common verbs. Then this is for you to practice, and then we'll discuss two of the most important verbs to know and to learn the conjugation right now. Then we'll move on to modal verbs and the separable verbs. Now, the most common verbs for you guys to know is haben, sein, werden. This is the first group. This is the core or the columns of the German grammar, and we will teach you guys these three. Werden is for whenever we reach the passive, which is very soon, I promise. Today we will work on these two because you got to learn it and not by heart. And there's also a second group that has a spatial declining. That it's not the goal of our video here. We will discuss the strong declination of verbs, the weak verbs basically, and strong verbs, and the irregular ones, which would be the discussion of our next video. So the verbs that I want you guys to practice with are trinken, meaning to drink, fragen, meaning to ask. Make it prettier if fragen, A, R, and F. Okay, and the next one is lieben. You know, lieben, to love. You know, some of these language gurus are like, they just studied some 200 pages of a book, and they say that they speak it. Some other do actually are doing a good job. I'm not against anyone, but just saying. And they say like, do you speak this language? Yeah, I can say, do you speak this language? They're like, yeah, I speak this language, 17 language, 18 language. I can say I love you. I can say that. Well, I can say I love you in 17 language, and I speak 4 of them. Meaning, I'm not just hating people. I'm just saying that this doesn't mean fluency. Okay, it depends on a lot of stuff. We will see more of this when we are practicing, because I'm gonna show you some cool books and texts that I have studied myself, especially for Russian and German. So next verb will be machen. So machen itself is like to make. Yeah, but Germans use it as do. It's mostly like make, but it's closer to do. The verb for to do in German is tun, but Germans use machen for the verb to. Like, what have you done would be was hast du gemacht, using this verb. Moving on. Okay, now we know the declination of some simple verbs like sagen and fragen. You can decline them all the same. Now we will just discuss the most important ones, sein and haben. First we'll move to sein, and it means to be. I'm gonna change my pen. Alright, now sein. I won't write the pronouns down, I just want you guys to imagine that they're there. Plus it's, I think, kind of understandable. So the first person, it would be ich bin. Then we move to du bist. And the third one is ist. Moving on to plural ones. Wir sind. Here also it's sind. But here we got seid. Isn't that cool? What do we see here? The Sinn for these two boys, the solo pattern of Ia, the resemblance of B in these two boys, and the solo beginning with I, like Mr. Incredible in these ones. Let me just, in these ones. Okay. What about the past tense? So I haven't actually taught you past tense. I will just talk about it a little bit. Then we'll move on to the haben, and then we'll move to modal verbs and separable verbs. Just take a, yeah, this is fine. So the past tense should equal the verb root plus a past sign, which is normally T, and the sign of the person that sounds a pronoun. Okay, so let's take the verb sein. Okay, the root for past tense changes, and this is in what's the English for it? Исключение. Is you studying different languages, you will start to forget words in your own language and other languages that you know. So yeah, this is an исключение. Oh, exception. Yeah, this is an exception. The root becomes va. And in this exception, we don't have a T. We just add the other endings to it. And surprising enough, let me just draw this further. These are the endings for each person, right? The first and the third singular persons don't really get an ending. So this is just va here and va here. But the second one gets, it's vast. Like you can ask, wo warst du? Where were you? You know? And this is an en, this is a T, this is an en. Another word, like you want to say I said, to say sagen, we take the root, we add a T, and we add the person's ending. Root here is zag. It is from one of those words that don't change, that don't really change, you know. We add a T, and we add, let's say, I said, sagte. So this is deal with past tense, but we'll explore it deeply with the next video. So now let's move to haben. Let me take this one. Haben. To have. Now to blue. Okay. Haben. Ich habe. Sometimes pronounced, especially in music, like I personally listen to rap and hip hop mostly. They would pronounce it like without an E, like ich hab. That's why in some books they might, or applications, whatever you use, they might put it and write it like that. Second person, we know that the sign has to have a ST, so it's du hast. And hat. Now the next one. Wir, okay, we know this. It's haben. Sie haben. We know that. What about here? Habt. Now let's get into work. The root is obviously hab, but some guys have it. These plurals ones have it. Singulars only the ish has it, but it's missing here. The root is hab. If you're asking why, B is close to the V sound, whatever you take, V or W. It's not about English, it's about how you write it, okay? Like in Polish, we got a W. Anyway, B resembles one of these two. The V sound, in English being V. It's close to this. And, or even P, not this P, not Jesus Christ. Or P, but here, we're working it on this side. And this could turn into a glide W. These two are glides, meaning a W and a Y, like E, because they glide, you know, they're kind of like hovering, like the word, not the word, the letter itself is hovering in your mouth. And these guys can disappear. which is why they disappeared here. That might not even be the case here, but I'm just teaching you a little bit of phonology. Okay, moving on, let's check our rules for declination for person. Yes, ish has an E, do has an ST, third person gets a T. These two, as always, resemble the verb itself, and we have another T here for ear. So this was the same. Now let's talk about the past declination of this verb, conjugation, excuse me, and see what's up. So we said we got a root, we had a T, then we had a person. This is a T. Jesus. We had a T, then we had the root. So the thing is, sein would change its root to va and then decline. For haben, it would change itself to hat, right? Then it declines. Now this time it really declines. So it would become, we had a hat, we had the past T, then we had the person. So for ish, it would be ish hatta. The second one would become ish do hat. We got an st, but since it's hard to pronounce hat, it would be difficult and basically ugly. We had an e here, and it declines just like it for every person. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the declination for sein and haben. Now what you guys can do, you can actually decline, not decline, make sentences with it. Ich liebe dich. The simple sentence. Well, the most simple sentence in every language. Ich liebe, the verb is declined to refer to ich. And this here is the accusative case of what? Of do. Another sentence. Let's start. Okay, let's play with words a little bit. Du liebst mich. Again, blue. Liebst refers to do, and mich here is the accusative of ich. It's pretty easy, isn't it? Another sentence. Ich. Okay, frage es von dir. Frage, to ask, refers to ich. Is here. Is here is the accusative of, again, es. And since it's not a masculine noun, it doesn't decline. So it's basically its nominative. Now, von is a preposition that we've already talked about, and it comes with dative case. And next one is dir, which is dative from do. Now you can make sentences like this a lot. I suggest you to make 40 sentences with these information that you have learned in our basic German series, and you'll be good to go for our next part, basically. And the way that I am teaching here German is the exact same way that helped me to master it and be able to reach C21. The grammar, because vocabulary part is different, but the grammar part is yet again something totally different, and you need a different approach, and this approach will 100% work. Now, our next subject, trennbare Verben, separable verbs. Trennen is actually to cut, but in English we call it separable verbs. Now, what do we got here? With our verbs, we will actually talk about this more when we get to word formation and word order. Mostly about, it's most likely to be in word formation, but let's talk about it a little bit, just giving you guys a heads up. So each verb has a root. Okay, this is the root. This is the ending, which is ending. Okay, get it? N, ding, en, ding, ding, bing, meaning thing in German. Get it? This is the ending. And some verbs have a prefix behind them. Okay, that really is not really beautiful. Okay, prefix behind them. And we just want to find out when, for today's video, when does this prefix separate? Where does it go? When and why and how, basically. So here's the point. Usually the prefix, if it's from a preposition, okay, or some adverbs or some common nouns, it separates, so it would become a separable noun. What are some examples? Let's say abfahren, ankommen, next one being anrufen. Let me just write it here. And maybe something different from a part of speech, like teilnehmen or weglaufen. Let me just write it here. Weglaufen. So part one, we know why it separates. Part two, what happens? So normally we conjugate a verb like this. I come is ich komme. Yeah, it's not complete. I haven't put that one there, but yeah. Ich komme. Another sentence would be ich liebe es. Now we got an object here too. First thing you know, again, we're not in the word order part. I'm just saying that the verb has to be in the second place of a sentence, okay? Like the first part, second part, third part. First part, second part. The verb has to stay in this place, which is the second row, not the column, I mean. And what happens when you have a separable verb? Take this, ankommen, to arrive. Ich komme, as we said, it's separate. And what happened? The prefix went to the last place. Here's the last place, is the third place. It went to the last place. Another example, abfahren, drive away. Ich fahre ab. Yet again, first verb in the second place, fixed, prefix went to the last place. Here the third one, the last one. So this is basically the only thing that you have to know for now about the separable verbs, just to know it and use it. And anything outside of this would be 90% of the time a non-separable verb. Last part of the video, modal verbs. Okay. Now, since I'm teaching you the basics of German, I'm not talking about the declination or I don't know how to use them because it has lots of details. It's basically, it has a laboratory of its own. But our focus is just to introduce them to you and show you a simple declination form. Modal verbs in English are can, may, shall, and the rest. And in German there are können, wollen, dürfen, and müssen. So these are the German modal verbs. We will take these two for today's example, and we will just teach stuff with to you guys with these. So können for the first person would change to can. Let's make a sentence with it. Ich kann, let's say, es machen. I can do it. What happened here? The verb, as always, because the modal is now our main verb, okay? It focuses on the ability here, and it's the important thing. It's not important that you did it or did not. Important it is that you can do it or not, okay? This carries the most meaning. Came in the second place, and the verb machen went to the last place. Kind of like the separable verb, right? The verb came here, and the prefix went to the last place. Another example. Ich wollen means to want. And the first person's the conjugation of it would be ich will. Was trinken. I want to drink something. Change this. Again, the modal verb in a verb's place, and the main verb at the last place of the sentence. How about if we have a separable verb? Like, I want to call you. Ich will dich anrufen. Second place, as always, dich, the accusative object or the direct object, whatever you like, of the verb anrufen, to call, and anrufen as a whole verb, not changed at the end of it. And that's pretty much it. For the last point, I might want to tell you that we're not at the past participle yet, but in the next parts we will talk about the past participle of the verb that we have taught you, and we will definitely decline the verb werden for you guys because it's a very, very important verb. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.